Law Latitude Broadcasting Corporation, ELBC, we have to thank you, members of the press, for taking up your time from January to December for your continuous effort in ensuring that the Nigerian people are informed of what the government is doing through the Ministry of Information. We have to thank the community radio stations, the social media, those in the diaspora that have been following us from January to December. At this juncture, I will invite to the national podium the Deputy Spokesperson of the government, Mr. Daniel Samuel, who will make some comments, after which we will officially invite the official spokesperson of the government, who will come and speak to you on issue of national concern, Mr. Samuel. Good afternoon to all of you. And today is a very special day. We started this journey from January 2025, and today is the last day for the press conference in the year 2025. This will have been possible by the special grace of God. He has given us the energy, He has given us the wisdom, He has given us everything that He has taken us to successfully execute the task that is assigned to us here at the Ministry of Information. So it's a very special day, and I know the nation is listening. This morning I was speaking to one of the colleagues from one of the local radio stations, and I told him that we intend to use this edition of the press conference to purposely highlight remarkable accomplishments across key sectors of the government. Why do we want to do so? Because as we move into the new year, the questions that many will be asking is where the country is now, or where the country is coming from, what has been accomplished. And so we'll provide you all of the answers as far as accomplishment of the government is concerned. Then there will be no need for you to dilly-dally on concerns about what the country is, what has been achieved, and all of the regular talks from people who are unapologetic critics of the government. So yes, Minister Piah will mount the podium, but he will specifically speak to issues bordering on the accomplishment of the government. And of course, there are other issues that are in the news. The minister will speak to those issues, but I just want to say to you that 2025 has been a very eventful year for us, for all of us. The Weaker Press Association has been very forthcoming, very cooperative. I've always said that the work we do here cannot be completed without your involvement. It is through your microphones, your social media feeds, the relay from state broadcast or ELBC that enables many Liberians across the length and breadth of our country to follow what we do here at the Ministry of Information, to give them the basic information about what the government is doing, what the government intends to do, and everything about the progress of our country. So at this moment, I want to call on our compatriots in radio land to lend us their ears. The year has come to an end, and you want to know what the government has accomplished. You want to know what the government will do moving forward. The dry season is here. In the road infrastructure, a lot will be done. But let me not let the cat out of the bag. So at this point, I want to request all of you to please turn your cell phones on silent. Maybe we have to. So what we're going to do is to put in here that you can't be able to put your cell phone on silent to avoid distraction. So let me your attention. Put your guardian in place. And let me now stand on the existing protocol to invite Minister Jeremy Piah to the podium.
Okay, let me say to all of you, pleasant good afternoon. And since this will be our final interaction for the year 2025, we will not gather like this again until 2026 if we are all alive. And it's a hard reality that many persons do like to face. There are many of us in this room who don't know what tonight will bring for us. Not to talk about the rest of the days leading towards the end of the year. So yes, it is something that we should expect, but we hope that all of you and all of us will cross over. And I want to say on behalf of the ministry, to all of you members of the Medical Reporters team, a very Merry Christmas. Hoping that the new year will be a blessed, happy one, and some of the challenges that you may have had individually in 2025, that they will be overcome. Moving toward 2026, also I look forward to a time when I walk in the press conference room and all the journalists are seated. Because you see, you are the watchdogs of society and you hold public individuals to very high standards. So you must follow suit with what you hold other people accountable for. When we see the press conference is 12 o'clock, here we see that at 12 o'clock. But we sitting and people walking in and out, sometimes it's not true. We're not just you. I also look forward to having my deputies and assistants seated before I come to the press conference, not me coming in and walking together. So not just about you. See, I always try to be balanced and fair. I can be accusing you of something and my own people do it something I haven't said nothing about it. So I'll make it better as we move forward to the video. The press conference today, which will be solely addressed by me, will be a little bit long, and I ask for your patience. You see the photo before me, it tells you that it's going to be a long break. That's one of the reasons why we didn't invite the minister here today, because I wanted to do this as a spokesperson of the government as we end. So let me start like this. After 12 years of steady progress on a UP-led government that had Ellen Johnson Sirleaf as the president and Joseph Newman Walker as vice president, Liberians voted in a new administration in 2017. At that time, some believed that the Messiah was wrong, and that all of the country's struggles were over. I don't know exactly what informed that hope, as the newly elected president had a near zero governance history. His major credentials, in my view, were battle cries in an unfounded narrative about being a pauper from Gibraltar, thus likening himself to the ordinary people of the Liberian society. That he was like them, that he's lived and experienced hardship and poverty, that he was born in poverty. And so he knew what everyday ordinary Liberians were going through, and therefore he will fit into that scenario or sorry. Perhaps that informed your view. And I say unfounded narrative because many other stories have been told by the same person. From the poor boy in Gibraltar to being born into wealth and building your own house at the age of 19. Two parallel stories. And so for me as an individual, I struggle with which one of the stories I should believe. But that hope amongst Liberians soon disappeared. 16 billion Liberian dollars vanished and dumped on the Liberian market. With that action, inflation blossomed, and the exchange rate fast rocketed. 25 million US dollar was placed in Ghana Moscow Bay and taken to ordinary money changers in the street to quote, mop up excess liquidity. That money ended up in the pockets of officials, and the exchange rate got even higher. That was followed by the erection of 49 condominiums. Magically, the dilapidated 9th Street mansion was demolished and transformed into a pleasant mansion. Jamaica Resort was transformed into a mini paradise. Rice, our staple of food, will not just be expensive, but scarce and or difficult to find. Petroleum products turned into cold water. Not easy to get, they became very expensive, affecting everyday life, transport, food, goods, services, generator running, etc. Security excesses sparked violent clampdown on sitting lawmakers and others was the order of the days. People were constrained to begin leaving the streets as selling Piah for fear. The drug epidemic started, and the land became a paradise for drug activities. At some point, $100 million worth of drugs dumped, another point $30 million, and so forth. The killing of their own public officials and workers started. Remember the story of Baton Swag. Our Peters, Gift 11, found Gucci, Melvin, Princess, Cooper, and the list goes on. University students were targets for brutalization. Remember the episode at Malcolm Point near the U.S. Embassy? The situation with Walter Sisulu, who now lives in exile permanently. Remember the third reaction of a lawmaker marching on the university campus with torch and brutalizing university students. Our donors and partners complained publicly that their money in the central bank was stolen. The sitting U.S. Congressman, Chris Smith, will go on to describe the Liberian government as kleptocratic. And a kleptocratic government is a regime in which corrupt leaders abuse power to steal the nation's resources for personal enrichment. They prioritize their own gains over the public welfare. It is essentially a rule that thieves. This involves systemic, large-scale investment and misappropriation of state resources, leading to poverty for citizens and dysfunctional in the state. This is the definition of what that congressman referred to. Then an array of key government officials of the regime will later be sanctioned by the most powerful nation on earth. China and other countries halted targeted projects due to bad international relations. The ministry responsible for the nation's foreign policy was on accusation of sexual assault and violence, with almost no travel to the United States and other places by the head of that sector. Our president then was called to a place where no leader is called. And the only reason a leader will be called there is to be reprimanded. Finally, the safari of over 50 days took place simply to watch Walker or one song play. And that was financed by public funds. Vehicles secured with public monies were diverted to private use. In case you know the asset recovery team is involved with, even though there have been legal delays and obstacles. Millions were stolen through the Financial Intelligence Agency, a case for which the former finance minister is currently standing trial. You must note that they not deny the allegations. They said they argued for foundations built with public money claimed as private property. I go on and on and on and on naming what the relation turned into after that hope of 2017. I don't know, I have other things to talk about. And this was just to remind you and the Liberian people what took place before we got to where we are now. So let me begin to tell you the story of what has happened since we got to where we are. Keeping in mind all the bad narratives that I just explained to you. And before I do so, I think it would amuse me if I ask Mr. Samuel to just read this donor letter. Maybe your eyes are better than mine. Take the microphone.
Your Excellency, please accept our assurances Your Excellency, please accept the assurances of the highest esteem for you and the government, and our deep appreciation of the frank and open channel of communication between us and that you have fostered. We regret to bring to your attention our receipt of a copy of the attached letter which was sent by members of your government to the Central Bank of Liberia designating funding to be removed temporarily from a variety of accounts associated with donor programs. While some partners have been aware of particular accounts from which funding have been removed for purposes other than those that were intended and agreed and have been addressing the issue, the letter indicates a greater scale of irregular withdrawals than was previously and collectively known. In light of this funding, the donor partners are obligated to consolidate the entirety of the funding that our government have allocated for Liberian assistance programs in ways to protect it going forward. The so-called borrowing initiative damages donor confidence in your government, use of donor resources, and in its ability to serve as an effective partner on development programs. We are apprehensive about the potential negative impact that such conduct may have on assistance levels to Liberia overall development. We appreciate your understanding of our concerns and your prompt action to ensure that any funding that has been removed from donor accounts for expenditure outside of agreed usage is restored without delay, and that such unacceptable practices cease immediately. We welcome the opportunity to discuss this serious issue with you. Thanks for your attention and response. Sincerely, His Excellency, Her Excellency Helene Keith. She's the head of delegation, Ambassador EU delegation to Liberia. It's also signed by His Excellency Terence Wills, Ambassador of France. Mr. Glitter Pambach, Chargé d'Affaires, Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany. It's also signed by Her Excellency Catherine Campbell, Ambassador of Ireland, Her Excellency Tusmu Kimino, Ambassador of Japan, His Excellency Ghana Andres Hom,
Embassy, Royal Netherlands Embassy. Okay, His Excellency Ingra. Okay, so it's also somebody, ambassador, the embassy of Sweden, the ambassador of the embassy of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. It is, of course, the last Christian elder embassy of the United States of America.
So the letter is self-explanatory. It tells you the kinds of embarrassment that you face as a country. And so Liberians acted to save their country in such damaging scenarios. So they did that. Where are we? So this one came from foreign actors. Some of the things I said had to do with foreign actors. So I will start with what has happened with our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The year 2025 was a strategic inflection point for Liberia's foreign policy. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs consolidated high-level partnerships with the United States of America, with France, Morocco, expanded Liberia's diplomatic footprints by establishing relations with Bahrain, Uzbekistan, and Croatia, and advanced multilateral leadership, culminating in Liberia's successful election to a non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council that will be occupied from 2026 to the end of 2027. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs pivoted to economic diplomacy. They strengthened diaspora engagement, the modernized Council of Services, and improve the inter-ministerial coordination to ensure foreign aid transparency and national alignment. Some of the direct achievements as a result of this: US B1, B2 visa validity is extended to 36 months. We signed a general cooperation agreement with France. They convened the Liberia-Morocco Joint Commission and signed 15 bilateral agreements. Initiated ties with Bahrain, Uzbekistan, and Croatia, and advanced OIF associate membership and secured the hosting bid for the ECOWAS Youth and Sports Development Center. And like we said earlier, they won the non-permanent seat on the UN Security Council. They articulated thematic priorities such as climate, natural resources, and conflict, promoted gender diplomacy, and advanced transitional justice through advocacy. They repositioned our foreign policy around economic diplomacy. Like I said, they transferred the Japanese counterpart value fund secretariat to the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. They launched the Senate Diaspora Caucus and Diaspora Annual Return, decentralized passport services, and accelerated digitization and transparency, diplomatic relations and global engagement. Strategic dialogue outcome, like I said, the B1, B2 visa has a new validity period which extends up to 36 months. They've improved mobility for businesses and tourism, singling trust and mutual confidence, support investment, matchmaking, and diaspora travel planning. The 5-year partnership outlined a substantial investment towards improving public health outcome to Liberia and will provide a total of $124 million, strengthening national and regional laboratory systems, supply chain modernization for medicines and essential health coverage. They also have an agreement with France Cooperation. And that's a general cooperation agreement, a framework in education, in agriculture, in health and climate change. France reaffirmed at that time, back in Liberia, Kennedy, and of course, we won programmatic pathway for technical assistance such as scholarship, agriculture value chain, and climate resilient collaboration were enhanced. For peace building through transitional justice advocacy, we addressed the UN Peace Building Commission on support for establishing the Office of War and Economic Crimes Court. The impact is the consolidation of the peace architecture, Center for Accountability, the rule of law commitment, institutional and economic diplomacy, policy pivot, foreign policy reposition to leverage diplomacy for investment, for national development and for jobs. The impact is clear value proposition messaging to partners, targeted sector engagement such as agriculture, infrastructure, health, and climate resilience. And like I said, passport services were decentralized by the ministry, so you can now sit in one country in Grand Guinea and get passport. They don't have to come to Monrovia. The impact, the burden of travel and the waiting time have been improved, and the trust of the citizen for service equity is ensured. There are strategic dialogue outcomes with the government of the United States of America. At the level of ECOWAS, judicial outreach, they hosted the president of the ECOWAS Court of Justice. Liberia won the bid for the hosting of the ECOWAS Youth Development Center. They negotiated 3 critical positions, which are for commissioners for economic and agriculture, and 1 judge position, and president for ECOWAS in the next term starting. Talk about the UN Security Council already, so no need to run in that. But let me give a summary of what has happened. In 2025, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Liberia achieved a historic milestone by validating the gender-responsive feminist foreign policy roadmap. This groundbreaking initiative positioned Liberia as the first African nation to formally adopt a feminist policy framework, reinforcing the country's leadership in advancing gender equity and human rights. The roadmap integrates gender equity, women's empowerment, peace and security, and climate governance into Liberia's foreign policy agenda. Liberia's adoption of a feminist policy sets a precedent for African nations, placing the country amongst a selected group of global pioneers. The gender assessment was also conducted within the ministry to align diplomatic structures and practices with principle of inclusivity and equality. The achievement enhances Liberia's reputation as a progressive voice in international diplomacy, strengthening national development goals by promoting women's economic empowerment and inclusive governance, and contributes to more sustainable peace building and conflict resolution effort across the region. The adoption of the gender-responsive feminist policy roadmap stands as one of the ministry's most significant achievements in 2025, reflecting Liberia's commitment to shaping the foreign policy that is inclusive, equitable, and responsive to the needs of all citizens, while positioning the nation as a trailblazer in Africa and respected partner in the global community. The other thing that you will link with the foreign ministry, but it will come on other places that, for example, it's clear that we have compact and millions will come. Personal interaction between our president and the president of the United States have been enhanced so far that they can make telephone calls to each other and discuss matters of serious importance for our country. Infrastructure and Ministry of Foreign Public Works. The Ministry of Public Works commenced during the period under review and successfully maintained 783 kilometers of roads, providing flyability to all of the regions of the country, including the western region, which runs from Broadway to Bokolo, the northwestern region, which runs from Saye to Vonjima to Foya, and Foya to Nendekoba, The southeastern region, which runs from Tapeta to Zwedru, from Zwedru to Kamliken, Plibo to Bargeville, and the coastal region, which runs from Ikano to Greenville. These interventions have eased the burden of high transport costs, encouraged price stability for basic commodities, and provided significant relief to families and their daily living conditions across these regions. The fully completed the EFW junction to RIA road project, including a roundabout around the EFW junction, enhanced the construction pace of the RIA road project, and increased the pavement of the road from 8 kilometers in 2024 to 25 kilometers as of December 2025. Increase the physical works progress on the Southern Quarry to local toll road project from 70%, which was around 19 kilometers as of January, to 86%, which is around 42 kilometers pavement as of December 2025. Increase the physical work progress on the Danta to Sakla Piah road from 53%, which was just 20 kilometers paved as of January 2024, to 56%, which is 25 kilometers of pavement. Increase the physical work progress on the Sakla Piah to Tapeta road project from 21% at 0 kilometer pavement as of January 2024 to 92%, which is 53 kilometers of pavement. We've commenced actual work on the Tapeta to Tostown road, which will be around 40 kilometers. Actual work meaning all road work and the beginning of pavement. The procurement processes for the recruitment of a contractor and monitoring and supervision consultant have been finalized, and actual work will commence in 2026 on the Tapeta to Zwedru road corridor, which is around 85 kilometers, including from Tostown to the Ivorian border. The detailed engineering design and bidding documents for the Zwedru to John David Town, which is 48.5 kilometers, have been finalized by the ministry and submitted to the African Development Bank for review and approval, and work is expected to commence in 2026. The procurement process for the hiring of a contractor for the John David Town to Putuken to Calico, which is about 61.5 kilometers, have been finalized and work will commence in 2026. They've increased the physical work progress on the Calico to Fishtown road project from 65% as of January 2024 to 85% with the entire 20 kilometer stretch of road paved. Procurement processes for the Barclayville to Southtown road, which is about 50 kilometers, have been finalized and actual work will commence in 2026. On the coastal road corridor, which is from Ikana to Greenville, that should be around 239.2 kilometers. Financing discussions are on the way with the African Development Bank, and detailed design is currently ongoing by the government, a major condition precedent for the African Development Board's approval to finance the Ikana to Sester Junction section of the road. For the Japanese Fana Gabriel Talker Bridge to Freeport Corridor, which is 1.9 kilometers, detailed feasibility study and engineering design are completed and the work will commence in 2026. For the Freeport to Simport Bridge road, works are ongoing and 1.8 kilometers have been paved out of the 6.5 kilometers. For the Piah concession agreement, which will facilitate the construction of 255 kilometers of road through a public-private partnership framework, has been ratified by the National Legislature, awaiting the signing of the President. This will see work commencing on the following corridors: Simport Bridge to Clay to Bowater to Tottenham, Road construction and rehabilitation works are ongoing on the following urban community road corridors: Allen Clinic, New Cruton, VOA Sand Beach Road, Yatono Town in Broadville, Tinker Village, Dupo Road, R2 Warehouse Community Road, Basseltown Road, Chicken Soup Factory Road, Members Town Road, Kakata City Street Pavement, Foya City Street Pavement, etc. They've commenced various maintenance and parking works on streets and community roads in Monrovia and its environs, including the Johnson Street to Freeport, SKD Boulevard, Broken Town, Yada Town, Tinker Street, Central Monrovia, Momo Town, Kawe Road, etc. To provide accessibility to residents in various communities with unpaved gravel roads, the ministry launched the Community Gravel Road Program that saw interventions on the following community roads: Samuka Town, Johnsonville, Smart Institute Road, Duazon Turning Point, Baker Road in Broadway, Chanel Coastal Road, GSA Rock Hill Road, SKD Road, Tingle Village, Guestlaw Road. Commence the opening of alleyways in Monrovia, including on Smart Road in Chubo and Marshall Community. Commence actual work on the overpass bridges at the ministerial complex and the SKD Boulevard. To improve road safety, they have commenced the installation of new solar streetlights on selected streets in central Monrovia and other parts of Monrovia, to include Lane Street, John Johnson Road, Redemption Road, Warren Street, New Matadi Road, GSA Road, Zubatown Road, and have replaced the streetlights from Iodelia Junction to Broad Street that were connected to the national grid to the solar lights. They successfully carried out drainage cleaning activities in Monrovia and its environs, including Bartown, Pettytown, LPRC Freeport Yard, Freeport Connect Gas Station, Thornton Creek, Cemenco, Jamaica Road, LEC Back Road, Popo Beach, LEC Main Gate, Cartwell, Stoughton Creek, Momotown, Douala Market, Nickel Town, Newport Street, Redemption Road, Solewin, 12th Street, 14th Street, 17th Street, 18th Street, Fairbanks, Sport Town, beyond the Catholic Hospital, Divan Town, Banana Beach, GSA Road, Zuba Town, Town, SD Cooper Road, AB Talker Road, SD Cooper Car Watch, 77 Boulevard, Rehab, Dupo Road, Zizé Community, Nizo Community, Chinese Coastal. They have maintained and rehabilitated 411 kilometers of rural roads in Lofa, in Bond, and Nima counties. Conclusion: President Joseph Juma Baka's senior-led administration have paved a total of 121.87 kilometers of roads from January 2024 to December 2025, with a breakdown as follows. Primary roads, 112.11. Secondary road, no. Feeder road, no. Urban community road, 9.76, making it a total of 221.81 kilometers. That was the Ministry of Public Works. We're going to have EFBC man when you want to see that when you're there. Or you stand small. Hey, see me that I get in your bedroom, man. Are you? I'm be out there looking around, looking at the members. Stand small so you can get in. You're getting the president, you know what happened in just a bit. Maybe I could be wrong, but I think I'm older than everybody anyway. And I always tell my feet don't talking then you don't mean that you sleeping on activities. Yeah, they gotta slow down their activities. The Liberia Electricity Corporation. In 2025, the Liberia Electricity Corporation (LEC) recorded measurable progress in stabilizing electricity supply, expanding access modernizing infrastructure, and strengthening institutional governance. Despite persistent sector challenges, including demand supply gaps, aging infrastructures, and financing constraints, LEC combined efforts across operational, technical services, and administration laid a strong foundation for improved reliability, affordability, and long-term sustainability. Key national outcomes achieved in 2025. Expansion of electricity access from 33% to 35% nationwide. Connection of over 63,000 new customers through urban, peri-urban, and rural electrification programs. Improved generation reliability through targeted maintenance and capacity restoration. Advancement of renewable energy and transmission backbone projects. Approval of a new tariff framework by the Liberia Electricity Regulatory Commission, reducing tariffs for residential and social customers while safeguarding cost recovery. Institutional restructuring, governance reform, and culture change led by the administration department. These achievements, along with the national development priorities of the country, with industrial growth objectives, and Liberia's regional energy commitment. Transmission and distribution. In 2025, LEC prioritized grid resilience, public safety, and service reliability through a targeted transmission and distribution investment. And the key intervention in this area was street lighting projects along critical corridors, including the RIA Highway, Single Avenues, ELW to Tobacco Pin Junction, Coward Road, Boys Town in Marshall. I see it in listed here, but I've been passing through Looking Time, more time recently, and that whole corridor is also electrified, not just with streetlights, but the connection of homes. Temporary lighting installation along the Baton to St. Paul Bridge Road. Temporary, meaning they will do the real one to mitigate risk during road construction and provide security and safety. 22 kV land resilient upgrade in Central Monrovia, replacing the wooden poles with concrete and steel poles from Freeport to Calvert Junction, the expansion plans into Pinsville, MV land reconfiguration in the JFK area, and transformer upgrade along the RIA corridor to support the low growth. The impact: reduced pole-related fire and system faults, improved reliability in high-load welding corridor, generation performance. LEC focused on preventive maintenance and seasonal preparedness to stabilize supply. So for thermal generation, the completion of 1,600 hours of maintenance on the JCAP unit, which is unit 2, ongoing 16 hours maintenance on JCAP unit 1 to be completed by February 2026, and the maintenance has been completed on the GOL unit 1. For the 800-hour maintenance ongoing with GOL unit 2, expected to conclude by February 2026. Hydropower generation. 3 hydro units are operational. Remember, there's supposed to be 4, the turbine. Annual maintenance is scheduled between February to May 2026. The ongoing repair is taking place on Unit 1. That's Unit 1 of the turbine. Remember, we just said 3 working, so 1 is ongoing repair, expected to restore 22 megawatts ahead of 2026 winter season. Customer growth, 16% increase. Raising access from 33%, like I said, to 35%. Commercial and industrial uptake has a 14% increase, reflecting improved reliability. And revenue growth, 17% year on year. Loss reduction, power tech and all of that has been reduced to as low as 2%. Regulatory compliance has improved from low to minimum. Reduced tariff for social and residential customers. This will maintain energy rate for commercial customers, will reduce fixed charges, adjusted medium voltage tariff to reflect service costs, and revised connection changes with LEC absorbing 62% of the cost, amortized over 12 months. On the LEC Technical Services Program, in terms of distribution and expansion of rural electrification, 18,000 new customers are connected, and I'm a witness because my house is connected, in Broadville, in Kingsburg, and Mount Bartlett, funded by the World Bank. 17,000 rural customers connected on the CLSG rural electrification projects in 124 villages across Rivers, Grand Bassa, Bong, and Nima counties. Installation of streetlights and electrification readiness for 100 plus villages. Expansion of the distribution network in Bentor and Cruiserville. Generation of renewable energy expansion. A 20 megawatt power solar project is 84% complete, and the expected completion is in the first quarter of 2026. 23.75 megawatt power solar plant in Shuffling. The contract is signed. Completion targeted for the first quarter of 2027. The Mount Coffee HPP expansion, engineering design and tender preparation is ongoing and will provide 42 megawatts of additional capacity. SP2 hydropower project feasibility and baseline study is ongoing. Funding mobilization prioritized. Grid modernization and system control. The SCADA project superstructure works for advanced with equipment installation is ongoing at the substation. They are also targeting some independent power producers at the private company to provide electricity. They have the TDEP as a target. They should provide 75 megawatt of solar energy. They have the SGTPL. They should provide 40 megawatt of HFO plants. The Ministry of Finance has submitted a formal financing request to the EU and ERB for the Bush Road Mount Coffee Pinsville transmission upgrade, and preparation activities for the feasibility studies are ongoing. And still on energy, 100% solarization guideline by LEC is for the Rural and Renewable Energy Agency. 100% solarization of 88 public health centers around Liberia. These health centers are now making it possible for improved service delivery for thousands of catchment population attending these health centers, and making it possible for a 24-hour health care service. The Ministry of Health will no longer have to worry about the purchase of generator fuel from its budgets. Those savings can now be used to expand and improve health services across the country. They have installed 468 high-quality solar power streetlights with exceptional lumens capacity in Barkerville, in Harper, in Zosa, in Kawike. Each one of these rural cities received 117 pieces of these streetlights. In addition to significantly improving security of residents, the lights are being leveraged for extended business hours, especially for women selling on the lights. The children are selling as well on the light. They have completed and tested a 1.8 megawatt diesel power generator that is a part of the high-grade power network in Lower Lofa. This is in addition to completion of the installation of over 500 kilometers of medium and low voltage power transmission lines in load centers of Wanjima, of Fuya, of Kulamu, of Bulamu, and Masabola, and all communities in between that will make it possible for over 50,000 citizens to have access to electricity by July 26, 2026, when the ongoing installation of the 4 megawatt power solar modules and the 9.0 megawatt hours of battery energy storage system will have been formally switched on. In Bikano, the Rural Renewable Energy Institution is continuing the planting of concrete poles to carry all those and medium voltage transmission and distribution lines to connect 13,000 homes and businesses. In Greenville, they are planting concrete poles for low and medium voltage lines, completing preparatory works for the installation of solar PV modules and battery energy storage systems and diesel generators as initial power source for over 5,000 residents. Primary works are ongoing for the construction of 2 megawatts of mini hydro plants on the Sindo River that will serve as the main source of power for Greenville and communities along the path of the power transmission line from the ministry's hydro power plant. In Bagleyville, there are finalized plans for the installation of solar PV module and battery energy storage system and diesel generators, as well as the construction of low and medium voltage and distribution lines. In Nima, they have finally created road access to 9.3 megawatt hydro power plant construction site in waiting for, and this will now make it possible for the main contractor to mobilize equipment to the site and start work. That's LEC and the Liberia Rural and Renewable Energy. Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education's achievement records reflect a shift from fragmented effort to system reform grounded in data, in accountability, in inclusion, in measurable outcomes with foundational learning, teacher stability, transparency, and child protection at the center. Foundational learning and system reform. The ministry secured legislative ratification and launched the ESSEL, Excellence in Learning in Liberia project, a US $8.7 million national investment supported by the World Bank and the Global Partnership for Education, GPE. It is focused on foundational literacy, numeracy, teachers support, and system strengthening. In honor of this project, by the way, 100 schools at the primary level will be built. They've launched the National Digital Learning Platform for grades 1 to 3, financed by the government of Liberia through the Public Sector Investment Program, PSRP. The platform delivers curriculum-aligned video, audios, and radio lessons developed by Liberian teachers and quality assured by the ministry. Integrated sign language interpreters as co-educators in all computer laboratory in 156 schools using micro cloud 3 technology, expanding digital teaching capacity, coordinated the training of 297 public senior high school computer teachers. The leaders in teaching Liberia program, the MasterCard Foundation supported initiative implemented with Educational Development Center to strengthen secondary education through improved teachers recruitment, professional development, school leadership, and inclusive training pathway, targeting over 2,000 secondary schools, benefiting an estimated 50,000 students. aligned the C certificate teacher training program with higher education institution, creating a formal and seamless pathway to BSc in education for graduates of the ROTTIs. Pre-service early childhood education and primary C certificate curriculum revised and validated to reflect 21st century skills such as green skills, gender responsive, pedagogy, and digital skill. The B certificate program was rolled out to Zwedru and Webbo Teacher Training Institute. Trained 40-day refreshment training workshop for early childhood education volunteers, teachers, including provision of teaching kits to strengthen early childhood delivery. 30 motorbikes were delivered to 3 of the ROTTI through UNICEF for in-school teacher support program. They trained 120 teachers in the delivery of STEM instruction. STEM has to do with the sciences. Specifically trained 40 SSS female science teachers, which is senior secondary school female teachers across the country to increase their capacity to science instruction delivery. Trained 50 elementary school teachers in the use of science kit, and trained 30 teachers and 10 master trainers in the delivery of e-tech content across 5 counties. Learning environment and infrastructure. Construction of model schools in Bon, Magidi, and Nima. Procured 22,000 STEM kits to support hands-on science learning in primary schools. 40 public schools were renovated by the Ministry of Education. They launched the One Child, One Chair initiative in collaboration with the Civil Service Agency, beginning with 525 locally manufactured school chairs produced through collaboration with the Vocational Training Institute. They commend the expansion project of the Liberia School of the Blind, strengthening inclusive education infrastructure. They secure science with physics, chemistry and biology laboratory equipment and supplies for 50 secondary schools to support practical science teaching. They have upgraded and constructed new TVET facilities in 18 counties, supported by the Ministry of Education, by the EU, and Sweden Union. They've restored the annual school census after a 4-year gap, covering 6,394 schools nationwide, re-establishing a credible evidence-based decision-making mechanism. They strengthen the use of educational data in planning, in budgeting, in county comparisons, and partner alignment. They've issued and renewed 2,445 school operational permits, strengthening oversight of public and private institutions. They have advanced steps toward digitizing school permitting and compliance processes to improve transparency and efficiency. They launched the digital school permit platform for the first time in the history of the school system. They have conducted compliant assessment covering school facilities and safety, shifting, and staffing, and qualification leads and rental. They've launched and begun the implementation of the Back to My Classroom National Enrollment Campaign, a joint initiative by the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, the Ministry of Health, using a multi-sectorial model to identify, document, provide basic health services, and enroll all school children. The initiative targets 250,000 children across 7 priority counties. They are transitioned 500 plus over-age learners into grade 3 and 4 after successful part of accelerated learning initiative. They have trained 1,463 PTA leaders nationwide, strengthening school oversight, attendance, monitoring, and parental participation. They have expanded the national PTA structure with 52 county coordinators, improving coordination and accountability at the local levels. They have finalized the National Student Handbook, establishing uniform standards for student conduct nationwide. student welfare and counseling services. The proportion of female guardian counselors in active service were increased by 5% and deployed to underserved counties. 70% of all guardian counselors trained to support students affected by substance abuse, strengthening psychosocial care system with support from the UNFPA. They trained 172,789 students and 2,958 teachers through SAT-SABLE and I-Align partnership. They have provided 1,802 students and 441 teachers with corrective eyeglasses. They trained 891 teachers in school-based F screening, referral, and deworming. They have delivered deworming to 70,642 learners and macronutrient supplements to 510 adolescent girls. They have reached 3,800 female learners through comprehensive sexual education training. They sustain feeding for 239,000 learners across 1,473 schools despite extended funding loss. They've implemented homegrown school feeding, supporting 20 local farmers and supplying 470 schools. They have engaged 138 schools in school garden initiative, benefiting 75,186 students, conducted a system approach for better education results, assessment with a workful program to strengthen national school feeding program in the country. They've advanced Liberia national spelling bee to county level, reaching 400 schools and 2,000 students. The social media platform publishing eligibility criteria, deadlines, and application procedures. Instituted operational reforms to both foreign and local scholarship programs to improve transparency, efficiency, and student welfare, including the verification of 378 active domestic beneficiaries of scholarship across 17 institutions, generating 96,915 in cost saving. They declare all arrears for 210 students studying abroad. Standardizing splendid payment across China, Morocco, and Hungary. They have increased local scholarship beneficiary by 62.2%, bringing the total number of local scholarship recipients from 378 to 1,000 students. The Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. In 2025, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning advanced a bold reform agenda that strengthened fiscal discipline, expanded the development financing, and accelerated service delivery. At the heart of these achievements was the submission and signing of the historic 1.2 billion fiscal year 2026 national budget, the largest in Liberia's history, accompanied by a 230 million increase in fiscal space to support national priorities. Liberia secured an unprecedented external resources, including 883 million through the UN Cooperation Framework and 12.8 billion agreement with T for the Salah Year to Konya Road project, while also meeting the eligibility threshold for the Millennium Challenge Compact. These milestones reflect growing confidence in Liberia's reform trajectory and its ability to mobilize partnership for inclusive growth. On the social front, the government launched the 88 million ESSEL education program to reduce learning poverty, underscoring its commitment to human capacity development. Institutional reforms were equally robust. NGO online registration platform was upgraded for transparency, while the Tax Expenditure Bill 2025 Tax Amendment Act and the rollout of the 12% goods and services tax, along with modern VAT roadmap, marked decisive steps towards revenue mobilization and fairness. To strengthen accountability, the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning delivered the 2022 to 2023 Annual Economic Review, completed the fiscal year 2026 budget framework paper, and conducted a public expenditure tracking survey across all 15 counties. Fiscal discipline was reinforced through revised travel ordinances and fiscal rules, while transparency improved with 3 consecutive quarterly financial reports published on time, resolving 65% of the previous audit issues. Operational efficiency advanced through the full migration of payroll into IFMIS and the achievement of 90% of electronic fund transfer coverage, ensuring greater integrity in public spending. Meanwhile, the innovative deep dive session with key ministries and agencies accelerated donors disbursement, raising World Bank disbursement from 13% to 21% within May 2025. Together, these achievements demonstrate Liberia's determination to modernize its fiscal system, expand development financing, deliver tangible results for citizens. The year 2025 stands as a turning point in aligning national priorities with international best practices, laying a strong foundation for sustainable growth on the REST agenda. The key summary of those achievements or highlight will be the submitted and have the historic 1.2 billion signed for fiscal year 2026, the national budget, secure 883 million to the UN framework, launched the 83 million Excel in education program, signed 12.8 million agreement with Kuwait for the payment of salary to Korea, met the eligibility threshold for the Millennium Challenge Compact, secured 230 million increase in the fiscal year 2026 budget to expand fiscal space, held deep dive with critical marks to speed of delivery and increase donor disbursement, instantly raising the World Bank disbursement rate from 13% to 21%, delivered the 2022-2023 Annual Economic Review, completed the fiscal year 2026 budget framework paper, upgraded the NGO online registration platform for faster and transparent services, passed the tax expenditure bill to close loopholes and protect public revenue, broke out the 12% goods and services tax nationwide, submitted the 2025 Tax Amendment Act, conducted pet survey in all 15 counties, revised travel ordinance and fiscal rules to enforce discipline, the public 3 consecutive quarterly reports on time and resolve 65% of previous or prior audit issue, and fully migrated to IFMIS and achieved 90% in the 24 transfer coverage. That was the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, the Liberia Revenue Authority. Over the past 2 years, the Liberia Revenue Authority has recorded significant and historic gains in domestic revenue mobilization, reflecting strengthened compliance, improved enforcement, and sustained institutional framework. In 2025, domestic revenue reached 699 million, up from 612 million in 2023, representing an 87 million increase. In 2025, revenue has risen further to approximately 825 million, and the highest domestic revenue collection in Liberia's history. Taken together, domestic revenue increased by 213 million between 2023 and 2025, marking a 35% growth over 2 years. Looking at a broader trend, revenue has grown steadily from 577 million in 2021 to 825 million in 2025, an overall increase of 248 million in 4 years, with 213 million of that amount in just the past 2 years alone. Underscoring the strengthening of Liberia's domestic revenue base. These results have been achieved despite institutional capacity constraints and reflect improved taxpayers' compliance, enhanced interagency collaboration, and a stronger focus on domestic resource mobilization to finance national development projects. Take a look. In 2017, domestic resource mobilization was 452. 2018 was 462. 2019 was 436. 2020 was 484. 2021 it was 577. 2022 was 615. 2023 was 612. In 2024 it was 699. In 2025, 825 million. See the chart. It will be important to emphasize that the US 885 million is not the final number for 2025. The amount is still growing as the year has not ended, because collection is still ongoing. The final figure for 2025 will be announced in the first quarter of next year when reconciliation has been completed. Throughout these 6 years, the past administration increased domestic revenue. That's 160 million, a 35% increase in 6 years. The Piah administration has increased revenue by a whopping 213 million in just 2 years, a 35% increase in just 2 years. In the last year of President Salim in 2017, domestic revenue collections stood at 452 million. In the last year of the past administration, was 612. That accounts for an increase of 160 million. The percentage increase is at 35%. This is to say to you, when you saw a budget of 1.2 billion being submitted, it was not magical, but based on hard work. That is yielding results. Water is life. So there's no way we would have given this final briefing for the year before talking about water. The Liberia Electricity Corporation has operationalized the Bokulu water system and extended it. Household can now apply for connection. They have connected 3,210 low-income homes to pipe-borne water to support for the World Bank. They have completed 8.5 kilometers of the 10 kilometer 48-inch water transmission pipeline from West Plain. They have started a water system construction in Greenville and Brigo. They have started a rehabilitation expansion in Zwebri. They have conducted feasibility studies in Buchanan, Mahone County, in Ganta and Kakata. They are in discussion with the African Development Bank to fund the remaining 15.2 kilometers of the 48-inch water pipe. The bank and OPEC fund team will be in the country in January for the appraisal mission. The amount will be 22.2 million. 2.2 million will come from the African Development Bank, and 20 million will come from OPEC fund through the African Development Bank. With the sewage program, they have started relaying sewage pipe in Central Monrovia, including Carey Street, Benson Street, Center Street, and Gary Street. This has reduced the flow of sewage in the street. They have connected 500 homes in Central Monrovia to the sewage framework. You'll soon be there. If I'm standing, I can get tired. You're always sitting there and you're asking me to get tired. You're busy pulling that. You're not busy getting. You sleeping too? No, not you. Yeah, you. You sleeping? From where? Care? Oh. The Ministry of National Defense. We talk all the things, you talk of security, you get security, and you with you. The Ministry of National Defense has strengthened civilian control of the military through policy reforms and structural oversight of the armed forces of Liberia. 11 major policy directives were approved and have been implemented, covering procurement, financial accountability, internal audit, asset management, ethics, risk management, logistics, and personnel welfare. The Ministry of Defense brings the 10th best performing ministry nationwide on the performing management and compliance system, receiving 2 national honors from the President. The government approved a between $40 to $50 salary increase for 1,923 personnel, 1,768 enlisted, and 155 paramilitary. Insurance benefit disbursed to families of fallen soldiers under the AFL Group insurance policy. The government provided $250,000 US for AFL pensions and gratuities. The first retirement package in years was paid to 6 retired personnel, restoring dignity to military service. A sector-wide hepatitis vaccination was conducted for defense personnel. 150 civilian and military personnel completed security sector reform training. 114 personnel trained internationally. 114 AFL soldiers trained internationally. They were trained in the USA, in China, in Bangladesh, in Egypt, in Ghana, in Nigeria, Latvia, and Sierra Leone. Local capacity building was conducted in weapon handling, legal UCMJ training, and EOD awareness and leadership courses. Non-commissioned officers academy established, strengthening enlisted leadership. 11 officers promoted to lieutenant colonel, supporting institutional restructuring and readiness. Armed resistance battalion activated. A single company activated. First engineering battalion upgraded from the company. The agriculture company is activated. They have conducted Operation True Guardians in Western Liberia, border and coastal security. Conducted Operation Restore Hope in southeastern Liberia. Enhanced command and control through the acquisition of broadband communication at times. Continued nationwide barracks renovation, easing congestion and improving living conditions. Over 1.02 million have been invested in barracks renovation. 11 buildings at Camp Grant in Sanford were renovated. 3 at Camp Jones in Kakata. Multiple buildings at Camp Winston in Zweden. BTC, Alpha, and Bravo building 98% complete. AFL headquarters office annex under construction at the BTC. Additional barrel renovation has been planned for 2026. They include Camp Jackson, FOB in Harbour. The 14 military hospital upgraded into a modern referral facility serving soldiers and civilians. Initiated construction of a state-of-the-art Chinese-aided national reference laboratory. Introduced digital hospital management system for records, for drugs, and accountability. Opening an EcoBank teller window to improve revenue transparency. Full personnel are sponsored to India for advanced bone surgeries. Medical equipment donation. Endoscopic machine from the U.S. Embassy. Mass casualty equipment from the Michigan National Guard. Expanded sex, surgery, pediatric, emergency care. TB, HIV and AIDS, vaccination, etc. The Liberia National Coast Guard and Maritime Security patrol vessel, the Lone Star Inlet War, strengthening maritime enforcement. Extended coastal patrols across Mississauga, Maggie, Grand Basin, and Grand Cape County. Enhanced protection against illegal fishing, smuggling, and maritime crimes. The Liberia Coast Guard personnel trained locally and internationally, and it was done in the USA, in China, in Sweden, and at the World Maritime University. U.S. mobile training team conducted a 19-day intensive training for the National Coast Guard personnel, strengthening cooperation with the Liberia Maritime Authority. International cooperation and defense diplomacy. They strengthened defense partnership with China, with the United States, with Morocco, with Latvia, with ECOWAS, with the EU and the AU. They secured a 20 million AU donated military logistics. The government has paid 1.48 million free costs to bring the equipment here. Joint inspections with China on the National Clinical Diagnostic and Treatment Laboratory project has been undertaken. An MOU has been signed with MPhil for health security and emergency preparedness, and they've hosted multiple international defense delegations. For gender inclusion in peacekeeping, advanced women peace and security agenda under Liberia's first female defense minister had taken place. They implemented the UN Women Allies initiative to increase women recruitment and leadership in the AFL. They've hosted Women in Defense Project signing ceremony in November 2025. They've completed a 10-year AFL peacekeeping mission in Mali. They are continuing deployment to Sudan, to South Sudan, to Guinea-Bissau, and on ECOWAS missions. They sustain 5 functional AFL school systems, serving soldiers, their dependents, and host community. They have funded civilian and military personnel education through LIPA, through LBI, and vocational institutions. The bottom line. In the initial 2 years of the Waka administration, Liberia's defense sector has seen stabilization, professionalization, and modernization, enhancing soldiers' welfare, bolstering national and maritime security, expanding international collaborations, promoting women's inclusion, and rebuilding trust. Rebuilding trust in the armed forces of Liberia, both domestically and internationally, as a force for good. The Liberia Civil Aviation Authority. The 2025 operational year for the Liberia Civil Aviation Authority was characterized by fundamental shift towards result-based governance. The transition involved integration of rigorous administrative oversight with technical regulation precision, successfully positioning the authority as a key pillar in Liberia's national infrastructure and economic development. Administrative reform and strategic workforce governance. The Biometric Accountability and Workforce Organization, the LCAA, successfully institutionalized a high-precision biometric attendance system. At its headquarters, the reform wasn't just merely technical or cultural, resulting in 35% increase in core hour availability. This data has been similarly integrated into the payroll system, ensuring public resources are expended only for verified service delivery. For the first time in recent history, the LCAA maintained a 100% on-time salary delivery or disbursement rate across all 12 months of the year by eliminating payroll delay and reinstating a comprehensive group insurance policy. The authority has significantly mitigated staff turnover and restored institutional loyalty among high-level technical staff. Recognizing that aviation safety is predicated on special knowledge, the HRMD Directorate executed 10 targeted training programs. This session provided 119 staff members with advanced certification in ICAO standards and recommended practices, administrative laws, regulatory auditing, ensuring that the LCAA remains competitive within the region of the aviation landscape. Automated financial system, the LCAA completed and transitioned to a fully automated accounting and reporting system. This has effectively reduced the monthly financial reconciliation cycle by 10 days, allowing for real-time reporting to board of directors and the cabinet secretary while strengthening integrity of the authority. Through the expenditure and procurement reform, we have, and I know the Director General is listening, I'm saying that this press conference is considered important, so we expect Director Fadon and his management team to extend the last broadcast, which means if it is 2 o'clock, they have to delay the news. This is the government premium platform, and the government spokesman is speaking, and he's also chairman of the board of LBS. Key reforms included the introduction of a centralized fuel management system and competitive bidding for all technical service contracts, ensuring maximum value for money in the utilization of LCAA operational budget. Through the warehouse and general servicing department, they implemented a centralized inventory tracking system. The initiative has reduced logistical waste by 15% and ensure that technical equipment are maintained according to international standards. Voting rights have been restored, successfully restored at voting rights at the archive in Montreal, reclaiming the voice of the country and influence in the global aviation governance. It held productive engagement with multiple global aviation authorities, resulting in the signing of new MOU, technical cooperation agreement, and bilateral air service agreement. They restore international safety standards. It is critical. It is a critical technical victory. The LCAA, in collaboration with the International Civil Aviation Organization, ACAIO, Western and Central African Office, and Banjul called Group Aviation Safety Oversight Organization, successfully submitted comprehensive corrective action plans to address 2 significant safety concerns. This progress is a prerequisite for removing Liberia from the international watch list and restoring our full sovereign aviation rating in Montreal. Strategic aerial drone expansion and oversight, sanitary airstrip. The LCA provided end-to-end technical guidance and statutory inspection for the construction of a new airstrip in Samaritan Quarries, expanding air access in the interior. Mining and commercial surveillance. They have conducted rigorous safety audits of B Mountain airstrip and maintained 24/7 regulatory presence at the Rabat International Airport to monitor runway integrity and ground handling services. The authority achieved 100% compliance in the renewal of air services license for all scheduled international airlines. Furthermore, it successfully certified and licensed all traffic controllers within the Rabat Flight International region, ensuring that personnel managing Liberia's skies meet the highest global standards. They facilitated the expansion of the Liberian market by handling the complex certification process and foreign-based maintenance inspection for the Turkish airline, ValueJet, and United Nigeria Airlines. The entry of these carriers increases national connectivity and drives downward pressure on regional ticket price. The authority finalized the amendment of the Air Transport and Economic Regulation, the updated technical document development manual, and completed a comprehensive revision of the LCAA HR manual to align with the Liberia Civil Aviation Act of 2019. To eliminate the risk of communication blackout during critical safety oversight, LCAA deploys Starlink satellite internet. This transition has provided 99% uptime, ensuring that their inspectors and flight safety officers remain in constant contact with global safety database and archive portals. Energy transition and cost mitigation. The authority successfully migrated the Habel headquarters from an expensive diesel generator power to the LEC national power grid. This strategic move has resulted to 40% reduction in monthly utility expenditure, allowing the funds to be reallocated towards technical training and regulatory surveillance. And finally, so you can have some time to ask questions. The National Fisheries and Aquaculture Authority. Institutional stability, governance, and staff welfare. They have restored calm, discipline, and professionalism within NAFA, following prolonged internal instability through the implementation of a pause to reflect initiative, the staff retreat, and the institutionalization of a weekly technical reporting and planning meeting. They have introduced the staff of the month award scheme to motivate performance and reward excellence. They successfully convened 9 general staff meetings, during which time outstanding staff issues were formally recognized and outstanding staff members were formally recognized and awarded. They have reinstated 3 staff members who were wrongfully considered dismissed and commenced the payment of their outstanding and rightful wages, reinforcing fairness, due process, and institutional integrity. According to them, they eliminated wasteful spending and significantly strengthened fiscal discipline and internal financial control. They have procured for the first time since the establishment of NAFA a 32-seater staff bus easing transportation challenge for the staff. They have secured a comprehensive insurance coverage for 203 staff and their immediate family member, the first, they say, in the entity's history. They provide full life insurance coverage for 16 seagoing fishery observers addressing long-standing occupational risks concern. They have procured a 250 25 kb each of locally produced rice for staff during the Christmas holiday in compliance with the government of Liberia fiscal policy on supporting local farmers. So maybe next time when we got MOI giving rest, they will be a country rich. They commence and sustain the remittance of staff withholding taxes to the government of Liberia through the LRA, totaling $252,979 between April and November 2025, according to them, after 4 years of non-compliance. They resumed payment of NASCOR Social Security contribution after 4 years of institutional non-compliance, restoring staff benefit and legal adherence. In response to over 4 years of advice audit recommendations, they successfully transitioned from the legacy International Public Sector Accounting Standard to International Financial Reporting Standards, significantly improving transparency, audit readiness, and public financial management compliance. Policy development, sector regulation, and governance reform. They developed and secured board approval for semi-industrial fishing management plan, creating an enabling framework to attract legally compliant semi-industrial fishing vessels within Liberia full nautical mile zone. They secured presidential approval to the board of directors for a 25% reduction in the lesson fees for artisanal fishermen across Liberia's 9 coastal counties, directly supporting small-scale fishers. They developed and received board approval for a decentralization plan aimed at decongesting NAFA headquarters and expanding service delivery and institutional visibility nationwide. They've launched and fully operationalized the Fishing Information Management System, developed in 2022 but previously unused, reducing import permit processing time from 1 month to 48 hours, significantly improving efficiency and transparency. They've commenced the construction of the clay hatchery in Bomi County, positioning it as a national hub for fingerlings production and fish feed supply. They finalized arrangement for the construction of NAFA's first regional office in Harcourt, Maryland County, with commissioning expected in 2026. They have secured 5 acres of land in Harcourt and Groundsets for the development of integrated artisanal fish lending sites, incorporated cold storage, making facility, marine stores, and fuel services. Feasibility studies are scheduled for February of 2026. They've secured 30 acres of land in San Nicolas County for Liberia's first integrated industrial fish take-off farm with feasibility and ECR studies expected to commence in March of 2026. They have completed designs and launched recruitment for the construction of NAFA full-story fishery complex, envisioned as a one-stop shop for fisheries governance and services in Liberia, with construction expected to start in March of 2026. They've launched Liberia's first fiberglass semi-industrial fishing vessel, each capable of harvesting 200 metric tons of fish every 45 days at high sea. Recruitment of a private operator is nearing completion. They've hosted NAFA first fish market day, bringing together buyers, processors, and sellers. 15 fish sellers and 2 fish farmers recorded sales 6 times higher than normal, marking a historic commercial milestone. A feasibility study for ECR for a fish processing factory in Buchanan and a fishery quality assurance laboratory in Moscow County, with both studies expected to commence in February. They've launched procurement for a fish cluster in Ravenscoops, Grand Cape County, with contract signing anticipated in March of 2026. Investment promotion and strategic planning. They've launched the National Fishery Investment Conference, scheduled for March 30th to 31st, 2026 at the Fountain Hotel, aimed at mobilizing private capital and partnership. They've commenced the development of 3 strategic policy instruments. 1, NAFA 10-year strategic plan from 2026 to 2036, National Aquaculture Strategy, and the public-private partnership strategy, all expected to be launched at the investment conference in 2026. They have restructured and commenced implementation of the US $20 million OPEC funding finance project, which had remained dormant since 2021. They have facilitated international capacity building opportunities for 20 NAFA staff in China, in Morocco, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Zambia, and Togo. They have enabled the first international knowledge exchange program for 2 artisanal fishermen from Monserrado and Ambassador counties to Togo and Nigeria. They successfully hosted Liberia's first World Fishery Day celebration since NAFA establishment, honoring fishermen and raising national awareness. They restored development partner confidence in the institutionalized the quarterly fishery development partner coordination group, chaired by NAFA with the European Union as co-chair. The platform actively engages the World Bank, the EU, the FAO, the UNDP, JACA, the GIZ, OPEC Fund, and the embassies of the United States, of Egypt, Morocco, in strengthening coordination, transparency, and investment alignment. They've introduced an operationalized master technology, a modern digital monitoring and intelligence platform providing near real-time visibility for fishing vessels activities. Core Masters integrate lessening data, VMS and AIS observer report, port inspection records, flag high-range vessel, and support compliance check, strengthen interagency coordination. It facilitated Liberia's accession to the Fishery Transparency Initiative and established a multi-stakeholder steering group comprising government and industry. The led endorsement of the Global Charter for Fishery Transparency, reinforcing commitments to open data, transparent listening, and responsible fishery governance. Collectively, these reforms address long-standing governance gaps that contributed to Liberia-EU yellow card, demonstrating renewed political will and institutional capacity towards its eventual lifting. Provided grant support to 1,600 women in fishery-related livelihoods across 5 coastal counties, establishing business expansion, skilling, and diversification. The intervention targeted women fish processors, traders, and auxiliary service providers, strengthening household incomes, food security, and coastal economies. They completed the construction of 23 cloudless smart artisanal fishing canoes made of fiberglass and fitted with solar power engines capable of operating up to 72 hours at sea. And they distributed 100 outbound engines along with GPS unit and marine compass to artisanal fishermen across all 9 coastal counties, improving safety, efficiency, compliance, and climate resilience. Finally, if you are a Christian or you are a Muslim or wherever you are, there is a separation between the church, if you are Christian, and the state. And I believe there's also a separation between the church and the mosque. Political activities are for the political field. When you implant the church into political activities, then the question must be asked as to where you're doing that is a church or is a shrine. There are so many opportunities for people to address political grievances. In the democracy, we thought of it. Somebody who did not do anything, who almost ran the country down, comes and says they have seen nothing new. Maybe that's true. Maybe the coroner in my house, I met it there. Maybe that we were already on the Security Council seat before we came to power. Maybe all the street lights you've seen around were already gone. In fact, maybe before Liberia could be established, everything was already there. Because nothing new has come. It's your right to talk about it, and we'll tolerate that. We can simply disagree with you and tell you that you're wrong. That's the reason why, when I started a press conference, I laid the foundation of what we inherited. Before all the narration as to where we are. If you are a political field, and in this case, a former president, who will stay away from all the radio stations. President Walker was just on EMBC the other day for more than 2 hours. You stay away from every media engagement. The only place you will choose to go to through patron is a place that is called church. When people assemble in that place on a Sunday, they go there believing that there's a pastor who's going to preach to them about salvation. They believe somebody is going there to tell them about Jesus Christ, whose birth we just celebrated. On the contrary, it has become a place for political theatrics. And what makes it even more alarming is that since that place of church and is guided by the Bible, there are so many passages in the Bible, and one of those says, "Thou shalt not lie." But what we hear day and night back and forth in that place that is called church, a bunch of lies. How can you stand on a place called the pulpit of God and spread your lies? One minute, you're poor, but opening a food for yourself in Gibraltar. Another minute, you build a house at 19 in the same church. throwing walls at everybody. That's supposed to be a church. You beg you, Chief, you are a former president. Is it been taking time? 2026 will not be drawn into the temptation. We'll talk more about what the government is doing. So I'm not going to say anything harshly to you. But to remind you that the very Bible upon which we built that place called church says, be not deceived. Because God is not mocked. For whatsoever thing of men sower, he shall surely reap. Happy New Year. So let's take some questions.
Hello. It's already 2 o'clock. The minister was very detailed in his presentation. You heard him. There's no time for delay. We'll entertain a couple of questions if there are any. So please form the queue. The presentation from the minister covered a wide range of issues. I'm sure you are taking notes. So you can now ask your questions and the minister will respond. Yeah, BC just giving us a few minutes because we're already into the time. The news just got a text from one of the people in charge at the station and the news is being pushed back. So they are waiting for us. So please ask a question. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
Let me fast because I don't want to
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Benjamin and I report for TrueLiberia. Well, my concern has been drawn to the Minister of Information and Dialogue that I brought national culture and tourism, which was then part of the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism. My concern has been drawn to the recent update posted by the Trump Network. I want to know where do we stand when it comes to the transition of assistant minister, deputy minister.
Where is the Trump Network?
That's the GM News.
Oh, I want to GM me?
Yes.
Oh, thank you for educating me.
So he actually posted about the deputy minister and assistant minister. So I'm here to know where do we stand with the transition of the deputy minister
Is it what happened to
and
it?
assistant ministers.
This only happened to it?
I mean, they were just written up concern, and that concern, this is something that has never been disclosed by the ministry and the Minister of Public. So I thought of raising that concern so that we can give us highlight of how the transition project is in. Thank you so much.
Your family is part of the minister then?
No, sir.
Thank you. My name is Steve Rao, and I work for the Liberia State. Mr. Minister, thank you for disclosing to us all of the workings of the government. My concern is the issue of roads connectivity across Liberia. This has been a public debate between the past administration and the UPLA administration. Can you basically tell us how can you compromise this when former Minister of Finance former Minister of Finance Samuel Tuwe told us that
former Minister of Finance.
all of the road concession that currently taking place across Liberia was being signed and financed, by the previous administration. How can you compromise this? That's the question.
Yeah, good afternoon, my name is Jackson Shafa, and I report for Shanti. Mr. Minister, thank you very much for being here, highlighting your governance development. So, moving forward, we have for us 1.2 billion budgets. Over the time, while we were around here, citizens asking the question, what's in the package for development? Because, propagandists, a lot of confusion. People are saying that most of it goes to government, public administration, but people are still confused about it. And the next thing here is about the sanity.
One question, man. We just be waiting for something. Look at behind you, see all the other people there.
Thank you. And Mr. Minister, thank you very kindly permit me to express our gratitude on behalf of the leadership and the reporters for the level partnership we have built over the years. As we move to 2026, we look forward to an enhanced partnership that seek to promote the interests of the ministry and the reporters as well. So my question is, of all of the good things that you have spoken about, can you confirm the issue of Liberia's election as a non-permanent member and that of the Liberia's successful electability of the compact stand as the most of all qualified achievement of this government within the year of 2025? Next question.
My name is Joseph Sally and I report for FM TV. Mr. Minister, you mounted the platform in your caution the former president for using his pulpit. Do you think that the Liberia Council of Churches should call the former president to go? Because bear in mind, like you said, he has refused to go on most of these platform radio stations, and we all know that the only place he uses is this church. And being to that question, it's a lot of things here.
Yeah, but after we have them for adding two, they want to do not, they're not fair.
Thank you, Minister. Thanks for the development in some of the things the government did. About Mr. Minister, one thing I want to bring to your attention is since your excellency as government, or since the government came to power, they have not been able to achieve this initiative or this program they initiated. That is one government, one platform, and one communication. Since this government came to power, we have not seen the legislature and that of the judiciary or the other branches of government being part of this, only the executive. So as we move to 2026, can you assure that the government will be inclusive? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Piah. My name is TrueLiberia and I work for DN News Liberia. In your annual message, if I can point the word very good. I listened carefully. I was driving here and did not hear you mention about the Ministry of Information, the achievement during the year. Maybe it was an oversight or you didn't do anything at all. And they much talk about publicized yellow machine. When the ballot pieces are coming, the year already end, day after tomorrow.
Thank you. Why you have two questions? All right, so we have to be fast so that we don't push the LTC too much to where we're not supposed to push them. So I will start with the last question. You know, it's not an issue yet. I'm worried about something that is done and dusted. In fact, the president informed the other day on your own LPC that we added multiple baited bridges to the yellow machine. I don't know whether you know what a baited bridge is. It's easy to be installed, to make it a bridge to hard to reach places. And then I listened to the vice president from Ghana, where he's been meeting with business people in Europe. He announced that the final outcome of all the initiatives undertaking will be presented to the president. I announced the other day that we're taking him on air. One thing slowly, the vice president cannot be seen competing with the president. So when we're taking the president on air, we'll have to pause the vice president. In due course, we'll do it. The yellow machine, token, is not an issue. That's something that is secured, done, and dusted, and will be here. I'm wondering whether we got money used for aid, considering that we just paving all the roads all over the country. But we still bring it because they will be helpful. I've always said, I'm focused on where this country is coming from, where it's headed. Yeah, the Ministry of Information is a part of it. But all of you who are journalists here, you come here every day, you see what is happening here. If I even change this place to mansion, and no roof for people to travel anywhere, it's not anything. So the story we talk to tell are those stories that impact lives. When you face the road, people can travel easily. Goods and services can be taken to places. They improve the quality of life. When you expand literacy as we have, it changes the perspective of people. Jimmy start by here, they start by at my house on Christmas Day. But one thing they remember was that every time they went there, their eardrums were suffering. Because the source of energy was generated. When they got there this time around, for as long as they stayed there. And by the way, I don't know about other places, but since the current went to Broadway, it doesn't go. It does not go at all. Maybe the only time I let go if I refuse to put token in my meter. Where does it go? Do you know what that is doing in that community? There are many cold water servers now. I stayed some time in America. You know, in Liberia, people live rich life. In America, you cook soup for many days. You know what they're able to do it? Stable and constant literacy. I pass that instruction in my household. Because my coming to work when I bring off. So cook tomatoes, put it there. It be there physical. Then you will not be forced to wake up 5 a.m. the time you can wake up to cook. That's improved life condition. Talking about the breath laboratory and all the other things I talk about. Yeah, these are things that impact the portfolio. That's what I chose to talk about. But of course, if you want to know about the information, you know why it is. A ratting baby inherited is why it is. No vehicle for our employees. You have 2 brand new buses. Government officials have been here, they don't have cars. It's time to solve that problem. But initially, from our budget, we were only able to get 2 cars. It was a struggle with me. I haven't met the ministers. So who gets what? So some people have to be patient. And I rather be talking point for people. Because it's so less, they didn't have anything to talk. Then the money you get in the budget, how you can spend. If you get money, only 2 cars for the officials. Then somebody say now, I say, oh, they have put a people who buy car, you see the money there, who buy the car for everybody. So we can be told that's based on the we know for talking point that don't exist. We came here with only 1 car, like the whole car you ever seen using. The car is 5 years old. We try to change the brain box. We slowly getting car for you, right? We fixing the way. They procure over 40 or more laptops. They're all that are about to be delivered to solve the condition of the workers so that they can have. We have some laptops, but not enough. We put in furniture in offices, not just the building. So these are processes that will continue. You used to come here for press conference. Somebody used to go squat behind the house to use a restroom. And now you use the restroom. So all these things are there. I think just want to draw unnecessary one. I'm going to talk about things that I believe matter. But you know, you yourself ask that question, you know, you can't say we can answer. So when you transition, the ministry was the Ministry of Information, Culture, Affairs, and Tourism. So every time we keep a press conference, all the things we're talking, you'll say, why can you still get bigger for it? The bigger move on, then I get to it for anything. You wanted the bigger to be removed, the bigger move on there. Why you still want me to have the video for culture and everything or something? You know the bigger cattle brought here. So when you change the ministry, it means the department that has been taken away is mute. They were presidential continuous. The new law did not provide for them to transition as official to the tourism authority. So you see the assistant minister who applied the other time, whatever he got his favor or whatever it is, he was appointed vice president. The other people who need you hear the president appointing me not to the new authority. Does it mean the president will not get into, I don't know, maybe he will find something else for them. And I hope he does. Because they are qualified individuals. They got a lot to offer the country. Some of them abandon their families and lives in America to come here to help. So if they still have the desire to be here, there will be a need to engage them. But the passage of the tourism law led to an amendment of this ministry's law. And once that amendment was done, it means we don't have a Department of Culture and Tourism anymore. If you don't have it, then you cannot have a Deputy Minister for Culture and Tourism, you cannot have an Assistant Minister for Tourism, you cannot have an Assistant Minister for Culture. That's unfortunately the reality. Ask the of a platform. What are you saying about MOI press conference? What was the question?
What branch of government coming?
Oh, so I can say that publicly on multiple occasions.
Which is not true. Let's hear what you seen a public.
But on multiple occasions, I have asked like this, like pro tem, when the former speaker was there, he was my good friend, I asked him multiple times to come here, but you can ask people to come and there is a sense of judgment that will decide. For this press conference, I reached out, that I asked all these ministries to get in touch with me. I reached out to the pro tem and the speaker to give me a summary of your achievements so I can talk about it. I didn't talk about it, I didn't get it from them. So there's nothing intentional or our plan to say the government is one. We want to be having everybody here. We want to have updates. And on few occasions you see me talk about updates here from the legislature, but I'm not working there. I want to talk about them when you give it to me. All the things you have been talking about at the center, give it to me. I'm working with them. The budgetary process is still open, Jackson. We run an open budget process. When they tell you the budget has been passed, it can be published by the MFDP on their website. So if there's a debate about the place in money going, you can see it. Be a citizen journalist too. Be development journalist. You can only be interested in politics. We'll look at the budget and say, all the things you're talking about, get the money here for road, get money here for hospital, get money here for school. You can do that. I'm not kind of the budget is open. You dig into that open budget and inform the population. Because information is what? The right, right? And I really want to put depending on to get that information. You know, I'm going to discuss people here. Don't ask me about somebody saying they sound all the time. Judge people by their past. Just before we are government to come to power, the man you just referenced announced that he was making 500,000 per year at the African Development Bank. Go to a front page Africa story that went behind him and said, you lie. Your annual net salary is 85 million. 85,000, sorry, not 500,000. What does that mean? It means he lied about the 500,000, right? The man is in the business of lying, then what are you wasting your time to listen to him? It's not possible that everything he does will just be to lie on both sides of his mouth. And I'm not energy to be responding to lie, man. I only advise the boss man because he's the former president, he deserves all the respect. And I'm a Christian. And I frown on the desecration of the church and the altar of God. So I can only advise him. Man, you can talk all the things you want to talk, it's just up to you. What do you get out of somebody who is a sanctioned person? That's a bruised character and reputation. You should basically be quiet. Because what moral do you come with? And the greatest country on earth sanction you for bad things. You still have voice to talk because you think that bring people, they are jokers. That will be your eyes. But these are the same people who voted you in 2017 when they saw all your assets in the TrueLiberia. You can't play games with them. They don't even listen to that thing you're talking. So stop the lies, pay attention to that case you think, and struggle to save your reputation. Did I leave any question? I think we have to respect the fact that ELBC got to give the news. Thank you. It was a good time together. It's another press conference for 2025. We'll see you in January, starting at you. Don't forget that the various sectors we cover were not all the ministries and agencies. So we will continue that process. We are looking forward to other ministries and agencies sending us their updates. And at the time, we continue giving updates, covering all the other sectors. But we believe these are the most important ones. The ones Ministry of Health is considered very important, but we didn't get updates from them. That's why we talk about them. I hope the minister and her team will step out and let the people know what happening in their sector. Thank you.
For an elevation of MOI, I have raised until then,